My name is Marcus Hale, and this is the story of how a single message destroyed everything I ever worked for, everything I ever loved, and everything I thought I was strong enough to protect. If you're hearing this, consider it a warning, a quiet voice from the ruins of a life that once felt stable, predictable, safe. A lonely apartment, night. I wasn't looking for love when it happened. Honestly, I wasn't looking for anything at all. After my wife, Emily, passed away 3 years ago, I stopped living and started surviving. Days blurred, nights stretched. The silence became a roommate I never invited but learned to tolerate. Work, home, silence, repeat. It wasn't loneliness that broke me. It was the routine. Until the night I downloaded a dating app, just to see if I still remembered how to talk to another human being. I wasn't ready for anything, and I sure as hell wasn't ready for her. Her first message read, "You look like someone who carries a lot on his shoulders." It was such an odd thing for a stranger to say. Not hello, not hi, just that. Her name was Lena. Profile picture, a woman in her mid-30s, long black hair, soft smile, eyes that felt like they'd seen storms and softened because of them. I should have known it was too perfect. But grief teaches you something dangerous. How to cling to the first hand that reaches out. She messaged every night, not flirty, not shallow, deep, unsettlingly deep. She asked about Emily, about my regrets, about what I feared, and what I dreamed of. And somewhere between those midnight conversations, for the first time in years, I felt seen. 2 weeks later, she said, "Marcus, you deserve to start over. Let me show you something that helped me rebuild my life." She talked about crypto investments, about freedom, about making your pain work for you. Her words didn't feel like advice. They felt like empathy wrapped in opportunity. She said she wanted to help me secure a future where I wouldn't have to fear bills, rent, retirement, a future where I could breathe again. When someone makes you feel understood, you don't question their intentions, you question your own worthiness. And that's how the cracks began. She introduced me to a platform, a slick interface, real-time charts, a support chat that actually responded. She told me to try something small. Just a taste, she said. I put $300 in. The next morning, the app showed $486. A gain. A real one. I even withdrew $50, and it actually landed in my bank account. My logical mind whispered, "Be careful." But loneliness whispered louder, "Trust her." And humans, we tend to follow the voice that makes us feel less alone. The conversations got deeper. She called me Mark. She told me her father died young. She said she didn't want me to end up like him, stressed, broke, forgotten. Every message felt like a hand on my shoulder. Every investment felt like a step toward hope. Within 3 weeks, I had invested $22,000, my savings, the emergency fund Emily and I built. Everything meant to protect me, used to destroy me. One night, Lena insisted on calling. Her voice, her voice, soft, whispery, trembling like she was scared too. We spoke for an hour. Not about money, not about crypto, about memories, loss, healing, future. It felt real, real enough to silence every fear. Then one night she said, "Mark, there's a window, a market shift. It won't last. If you invest big now, just once, you'll never have to work again." The words hooked themselves into me, not because of greed, but because of exhaustion. I was tired of scraping by, tired of feeling stuck, tired of life being something that only punished me. So, I made the decision that sealed my fate. I liquidated my retirement account. $147,000. Gone with a single transfer. She called me afterward. She cried, said she was proud of me, said she believed in me. And for the first time in years, someone's belief felt warm. I didn't know then it was the last warmth I'd ever feel. The next morning, the platform wouldn't load. Just a spinning wheel. Then an error. I messaged her. No reply. I called. The number was disconnected. I checked her profile. Gone. Everything. Gone. The app, the money, the woman, the voice, the hope. And there, in the dim light of my lonely apartment, I understood. I hadn't been loved. I'd been hunted. The human mind has a way of protecting itself in moments of shock. It creates explanations, excuses, illusions, anything to avoid facing the truth. That's what I did in those first hours. When the app refused to load, I told myself it was maintenance. When her messages didn't deliver, I said she fell asleep. When her number disconnected, I convinced myself she switched SIM cards. She mentioned traveling. But even denial has limits, and by sunset, every limit had broken. The hours after the loss, I refreshed that platform thousands of times. I tried different Wi-Fi networks. I reset my phone. I even created a new account, only to realize the entire company didn't exist anywhere else online. No registered address, no customer service, no trace. Just a shell website that had been programmed to disappear, like it had never existed, like she had never existed. The realization didn't hit me like a punch. It was slower, more suffocating, a tightening in the chest that didn't go away. Grief, but a different kind. Not the loss of someone I loved, the loss of the version of myself that believed I mattered to someone. I remember sliding down the kitchen cabinet, my back against the cold wood, hands shaking, breathing so hard it felt like drowning. Not because of the money, not even because of the betrayal, but because I knew what came next. The humiliation, the shame, the judgment. People forgive grief. People forgive heartbreak. But stupidity? No. That one stays with you, clings to you, defines you. I had been fooled, used, destroyed, and I couldn't bear letting the world know. The days after, I didn't sleep, couldn't eat. My mind replayed every message, every smile, every call. Was her voice real? Was she real? Was there ever a woman named Lena? Or was it a man in a warehouse reading from a script? I scrolled back through our conversations, and suddenly the words that once felt comforting felt manufactured, calibrated, engineered, designed to pierce the softest parts of me. They knew I was grieving,
They knew I was lonely. They knew exactly what to say. This wasn't random. This was a hunt, a method, a process. I was never special to her. I was a target. I spent hours online searching. Crypto platform disappeared. Romance scam wiped savings. Fake crypto app scam. Lena investment scam. I found other victims. Men, women, young, old. Different faces, same story. A message, a connection, a promise, an investment, a disappearance. Every story sounded like mine. But reading their words didn't comfort me. It crushed me. Because they had lost something too. But I had lost everything. 3 days after the disappearance, I walked into the police station. My clothes smelled like I hadn't changed them. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. The officer listened, took notes, nodded with a face that told me he had heard this story too many times. Then he said the words I feared. "Sir, I'm sorry, but you're unlikely to get any of your money back." He explained the networks, the overseas routing, the encrypted wallets, the false identities, the call centers run like corporations, the victims numbering in the thousands. I wasn't special. I was statistics, a number in a file, a man who clicked at the wrong time, a heart too soft for the world. One evening, my friend Daniel visited. He knew something was wrong when I avoided him for days. He stepped into my apartment, saw the mess, saw me, and said quietly, "What happened, Mark?" I didn't want to say it, but the truth forced itself out. When I told him, his face went pale. He wasn't angry. He wasn't judgmental. He was disappointed. Somehow, that hurt more. He sat beside me and whispered, "Man, you should have talked to me. Anyone. We could have helped you see the signs." I nodded, but inside I screamed. I didn't want help. I wanted to feel alive again. After that, I stopped answering calls, stopped going to work, stopped stepping outside. My apartment became a cave, a coffin, a place where time didn't move. Days blurred, nights grew longer. Bank notices, bills, debt warnings, they piled up on my table like tombstones. I couldn't face them. I couldn't face myself. 1 week later, on a sleepless night at 3:14 a.m., I heard a notification. For a moment, my heart jumped. It was an email. Sender, Account Recovery Department. Subject, your withdrawal issue has been resolved. My hands went cold. Was this real? Hope seeped in. Dangerous. Poisonous. The email said my investment account had been temporarily frozen due to security checks, but now my funds were available for withdrawal. All I had to do was pay a 5% unlock fee, 5% of $147,000, another $7,350. A normal person would have seen the trap, but I wasn't normal anymore. I was desperate, broken, drowning. I wired the money.
Silence. That was the moment it finally hit me. Not when the first money disappeared, not when the profile vanished, not when the app went offline, but right there, when I fell for the scam again. Because hope is more dangerous than loneliness. After the second loss, something inside me didn't just break, it disappeared. There are moments in life when pain feels sharp, piercing. But what came after wasn't sharp. It was soft, heavy, suffocating. a silence that wrapped itself around every thought. I wish I could tell you I reacted like a sane person, called for help, fought back, did something responsible. But sanity isn't guaranteed after you watch your future vanish, twice. I stopped checking the time, stopped turning on the lights. The curtains stayed shut. The air grew stale. Some people fall apart loudly. I fell apart quietly. So quietly it scared even me. Days passed in fragments, a few sips of water, a cold shower that didn't wash anything off, staring at the floor, scrolling through messages that would never be answered. I deleted my dating profile, then reinstalled it, then deleted it again. Not because I wanted someone new, but because I kept searching for her picture, hoping maybe, just maybe, she wasn't part of it. Maybe she was real. Maybe someone used her images. Maybe she had nothing to do with it. It was a lie I told myself because the truth was unbearable. My phone rang one morning, a number I recognized, the bank. I didn't want to answer, but debts don't disappear just because you do. The woman on the other side spoke with concern coded in professionalism. "Mr. Hale, your account has been overdrawn. You're multiple payments behind on your mortgage. We need to discuss your repayment plan." The word repayment triggered something inside me, a hopeless laughter I couldn't control. Repayment? With what? My dignity? I hung up before she could finish. My employer reached out too. I ignored emails, missed deadlines, stopped logging in. After 2 weeks, they sent a formal notice. Failure to respond will result in termination. I stared at that message for an hour, and then deleted it. Work required a functioning human. I wasn't one anymore. 2 nights later, another email arrived. Different address, different tone. Same poison. "We understand your frustration. Your withdrawal has been reauthorized. To complete the release, please settle the pending legal validation fee." This time it wasn't 5%. It was 3%. Smaller. More believable. A detail designed to make broken people feel like they were being given a second chance. I didn't have the money. My accounts were empty. My credit cards maxed. My savings gone. But desperation makes the mind irrational. So I did something I told myself I would never do. I applied for a short-term, high-interest loan. The kind that only exists for people who have nowhere else to turn. It got approved within an hour. Predators move fast when they smell blood. I wired the money, and immediately, before the confirmation page even fully loaded, I knew. Silence. Again. Cold. Total. It wasn't just a scam anymore. It felt personal, like they were watching me crumble and tightening the noose every time I reached for hope. I couldn't stay in the apartment anymore. The walls echoed with her voice, not real, but remembered. I needed air, something. I walked for hours with no destination, past neighborhoods where families slept peacefully, past streetlights that flickered like dying hopes, past a bridge I hadn't stepped on since Emily's funeral. My feet took me to that bridge without my permission. The river below was black, restless, inviting. I leaned over the railing, and for the first time since she disappeared, my mind felt quiet. Not peaceful, just quiet. But then something happened that saved me, not physically,
but long enough to keep the story going. My phone vibrated. I almost ignored it, but the notification preview stopped me. Unknown number. Mark, it's me. My heart slammed against my ribs. It was her, or someone pretending to be her. But in that moment, reason wasn't in control. I answered. A pause, faint breathing, then a whisper, soft, trembling, familiar. Don't hang up. My legs buckled. I gripped the railing. Lena? Another pause. Then, I'm sorry, Mark. I never meant to hurt you. Her voice was exactly the same, every syllable carved into my memory. A part of me knew this was another trick, another manipulation. But another part, the part that missed being seen, being heard, being cared for, that part took over. I pulled away from the ledge. I asked her where she went, why she vanished, why she took everything. She cried. She said, I didn't want to disappear, but they made me. They're watching everything. I'm trapped. Her voice broke. Hit that subscribe button to hear the rest of my story.